Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is your host, Chaos Kaiser speaking, coming to you with another edition of Troy, a Total War Saga. And today is DLC Day. Yes, Creative Assembly just released their latest installation of Troy, a Total War Saga, and today features the Amazons. Now, you can get the Amazons DLC as long as you link your Total War Access account to your Epic account in order to get this for free. So if you actually downloaded the game on the release date in which the game was free, and now you link your Total War Access account to your Epic account, everything that you've gotten up to this point for this specific title, Troy, a Total War Saga, is free. Now, today we're going to be going through that brand new DLC. It just released. Today is the first day for it, so everyone has access to it. I have had a couple days to go through some of the stuff that is available in these brand new campaigns, in these brand new factions, mechanics, everything, and we're going to be going through just about everything here. So first and foremost, there are two new factions that include Penthesilea's Amazons and Hippolyta's, I believe it's called. Hippolyta or Hippolyta. Hippolyta's Amazons is how I'm going to call it. So you have two brand new factions. You have two new epic heroes. You have all new rosters of units that are specific to the Amazons. We also have three new faction mechanics, okay? We have the Amazon Kingdom, the Blood Oath, and the Rites of Initiation. So I'll be going through all that stuff for you guys on both sides of it so you can see the differences here. We also have two new epic mission chains, some new heroes, buildings, events, royal decrees, and some additional faction content we might actually run across in our campaigns. The introduction of a Horde faction, okay? Penthesilea's Amazons are actually going to be functioning as a Horde faction, which is very similar and in their mechanics and play style to Chaos. If you are familiar with the Total War Warhammer series, they are very similar to that play style, to those mechanics, and that type of campaign gameplay. So Penthesilea's Amazons will be functioning as our first and maybe only Horde faction in this game, but they also come with a brand new Horde mechanic called War Spoils. So we'll be going through that as well as we get into each of these campaigns for both sides of the Amazons. And when you start a new game, they are a new tab up at the top. So they have the Danaans, they have the Trojans, and they have the Amazons now. So they aren't part of either side. They are strictly independent of all this that you are now able to select. So let's dive into the gameplay now. Let's dive into first Hippolyta and her Amazons and her faction, the mechanics that surround it, and some of the gameplay. Here we go. Alrighty, so before we actually dive onto the campaign map here, just so that you can see what I was talking about, there is a third tab up here now for the Amazons. And again, Hippolyta and Penthesilea. Penthesilea has a normal start versus Hippolyta, which is a hard start. And if you click into each of them, you can read exactly...
me at your peril.
You could read exactly what goes on with this faction over to the right. And the campaign, what's involved, and the victory conditions. Pay attention to the victory conditions, because now everything kind of comes full circle as to why if you start with a Greek campaign, you will see the Amazons come on over to your side of the map eventually later on way down the road in your campaign, versus if you were to stay on the Trojan side, how they're more of a help to you as opposed to an enemy. So read through this stuff when you get the chance. This is a Homeric victory versus a Total War victory. But just so you guys know, you do have to take this stuff into consideration if you are focused on the objectives, because they are a little bit different and stuff that you have to keep in mind during your campaign. So read through here. You can see what some of the unique units are, and even just some of the stuff that we start with. Favor of Ares and plus 10% battle speed of our hero here. That's for Hippolyta and Penthesilea.
The past cannot be changed.
You can read through exactly what is specific to her playstyle, the fact that this is a Horde mechanic. So you will have to actually, I definitely recommend reading through it, especially if you haven't played Total War Warhammer before, because it's completely a different mechanic and playstyle than you're used to with a typical campaign where you're conquering settlements and you're expanding your territory, as opposed to being nomadic and kind of just raising and destroying everything for your own personal gain. So keep that stuff in mind. And again, the victory conditions do vary here. So if you're objective focused, make sure you're keeping your eyes on the prize, because it is going to vary based off what you're used to. You know, you are going to the Greek side. I will say that both Amazon factions have that in common, but just take a look at what the differences are based off their mechanics and even the descriptions here. I'll be going a deeper dive into what those campaign mechanics mean here in just a second. But let's dive into our Hippolyta campaign, and I'll see you guys on the campaign map. Alrighty, guys, so now that we're in our Hippolyta campaign here, you can see I'm almost 30 turns in by now. So I do have a little bit of an explanation for everything. And the first thing that you're going to want to take note of is that there is now a 6th resource that you have to be mindful of, and it's called Amazon Treasures. Now, what do these do? How do you use them? And where can you get them? Amazon Treasures are used to perform feats. They improve Hippolyta's armies, settlements, diplomatic negotiations, and are gathered in sacred settlements and sacred sites, okay? So, for instance, a sacred settlement or site, you will see that it has the designation next to the settlement itself, whether or not you can actually accumulate Amazon treasures here. So, keep that in mind as you're expanding throughout your campaign. Which places are strategic, which places are giving more treasure to you and are more beneficial in order to accumulate more of this specific resource. This is a very, very critical resource to take advantage of, especially, you know, obviously as you're growing and you're expanding throughout your campaign. It is essential to keep an eye on it and make sure that there is steady growth there to follow up along with your expansions during your campaign. Now, let's dive into Hippolyta and the settlements herself. So she functions just like any other campaign, okay? She can actually conquer territories. She can control settlements. She builds buildings the way that any other faction does. But how she actually upgrades her units are a lot different than, you know, either the Trojans or the Danaans. So make sure that you're focusing on exactly what those mechanics are and that you have enough resources to do so. Now, before we dive into any other attributes or gameplay in this DLC, let's take a step back a little bit. I just want to emphasize how critically important this 6th brand new resource of Amazon Treasures is to the progression of your campaigns. It's absolutely monumental. I mean, in order to progress anywhere with this campaign, you need to make sure that you're focusing on settlements that have this designation so that you can accumulate them faster, and you also have to be mindful of where you are spending them. Okay, so I'm going to go into exactly what they're used for right now. First and foremost, up here at the top, you have a brand new tab called the Amazon Kingdom. If I click into that tab, you have the feats, the line of feats, the progression of your feats. Now, each one requires resources in order to obtain. So, for instance, I'm on feat number 2, and in order to accumulate feat number 3, I need 4,000 food, 800 stone, and 600 total Amazon treasures acquired. That doesn't mean that you have to have them up here, but they do need to be down here as part of your total. As you can see right now, I only have 205, but in total, I have accumulated 234. So in order to reach this next milestone, I do need to have these resources, and in total, I have to have over 600 or more Amazon treasures accumulated. Now, what are feats? What do they do? How do you use them? So up here you see feat, veteran tutelage. Gives a unit an increase in rank. A unit an increase in rank, okay? And if I upgrade, you can see, gives a hero an increase in rank. So how do I actually utilize these specific mechanics? Well, they are used with Amazon Treasures, that critical resource I'm telling you about. So you can upgrade the ranks of your troops and your heroes just by having these treasures. It won't change this number, it'll just change what you have to spend, okay? So what I mean by that is you have to understand and have a balance between whether you're using it for military power, or even if you go further down the line here, are you gonna use it for royal decrees? You can instantly complete a royal decree if you have enough Amazon treasures to complete it. So you don't have to worry about the 8 turns or the 10 turns. Huge cost savings for benefits that can come instantly just like that by having these treasures. Further down the line, you have diplomatic gifts. Enables the ability to grant an exotic gift during diplomacy that will affect a single negotiation. Again, costs Amazon treasures to enact, okay? And the last one here we have instantly upgrades a main settlement building. So really, the more Amazon treasures you accumulate, this isn't a limited resource. There are no deposits like there are with gold. This is a constantly, regenerating resource that you will get every single turn. So as long as you hold settlements that have these Amazon treasures, you will continue to acquire them over the course of your campaign and use them accordingly, whatever you want to use them for. So you have to just make sure that you're utilizing them in whatever faction you're focused on. Let's say you have a weak army and you want to make them better. I'll go through that right now. Same principles apply with all these other ones, okay? So let's go just for an example to show you what I mean by increasing the, or utilizing that first feat to increase the unit rank of my army. So I'll click into the swordsman here. And as I go up this new ladder, I clicked on one of the units, and you can see initiation rights, rename, feat, veteran, tutelage. Gives a unit an increase in rank for 3 Amazon treasures. So I could do that right now. I can choose 3 Amazon treasures, and that will reduce the number that I have, but it will increase her rank. So let's keep doing it. Now this is rank 3, and one more time, 15 to get them to rank 4. And look at what just happened. As a result of increasing them to rank 4, it says initiation right available. This unit can now be upgraded to a stronger unit, which gets me into the next aspect of the Amazons and their military expansion. All right, so initiation rights. Up here is another tab that is specific to the Amazons faction. So up here, if I click on initiation rights, you can see the branches in which your units can evolve, expand, grow, and become more powerful. Now, first and foremost, what you need to understand is that each building in your settlements pertains to specific units. Just because they're rank 4 doesn't mean you get to, pick and choose where you want to go. You not only have to get to rank 4, but you have to have a specific unit in that province, in one of the settlements within your province that pertain to that upgraded unit. So for instance, I'm able to expand my swordsman here either from an Amazon swordsman into an Andromachoi or a Horde Knight. Okay, so I get to choose which way I want my swordsman to go. There are 2 specific ways to go with them, and I have access to one of them, or 2 of them in this case. For my Amazon chargers, because I don't have the horsewomen building, I can only expand them for now into black spears, okay? So you have to keep that stuff in mind. You build your military buildings accordingly. If you want them to be all archer focused, if you want them to be all horseman focused or cavalry focused versus foot troop focused, just make sure that you're building the proper buildings so that you can expand into each of these different branches of the buildings. Now, what buildings am I talking about? Well, in order to get my units upgraded to level 3, for instance, I needed to build an initiation shrine. Okay, so I built the warfield, and now I have the initiation shrine. So that unlocked these specific units here, where if I want to upgrade them now, I could either upgrade her and make it, give her an increased rank, or I can do initiation rights and choose which direction or which path I want my units to go in. So if I want to use on either the first or the second unit, whether they're using swords or clubs, I can choose that now. And you can see the resource, specifications here. So one requires more food, the other requires more bronze. So if you're heavier in one resource versus another, pick and choose accordingly, okay? So in this case, I have more food, I have less bronze. Let's choose this one, and there you go. She's upgraded, okay? She's upgraded just like that to the Andromachoi, okay? So now I can upgrade her again. I could keep going like this until she is, or this unit is ranked. I keep saying she as if it's singular, but until they are again rank 4, even rank 5. And only once they are able to get to, once I'm able to build the Temple of Mysteries, am I able to unlock that next tiered unit, which you can see in the initiation rites up here. So it's a top level kind of unit here, and you can see what's needed. This unit is upgraded from the Andramachoi. They need to be at least rank 5. So I just upgraded them to level 5. Now all I need is the Temple of Mysteries, and then it will cost 600 food and 200 gold to upgrade them, okay? So keep that in mind. You need specific buildings to build specific units, and you need Amazon treasures to upgrade those units, or doing a bunch of battles to accumulate experience for your troops so that they grow in rank and will then be able to grow into that top or mid-tier unit based off of their experience. Okay, so more experience, obviously, the better in order to get to these higher tiered units. So keep that in mind while you're doing your campaigns. That is absolutely critical in order to make sure that your expansion is going swiftly, smoothly, that you're using your units efficiently, and you're using the strongest ones available to you. So again, it's a healthy balance between how much Amazon treasure you're accumulating, what you're using it for, especially as you go further down the feat line. Is it more, is it better for you to use it for diplomatic negotiations or to complete some settlement buildings? Maybe you're expanding and they're a little bit more exposed and you want to secure a tower or something like that to make your borders a little bit more secure. It's entirely up to you and how you do it, but in the early stages here, I can give a recommendation. For the most part, obviously, I'm not even at level 3, so I can't even utilize any of the other ones yet. But I'm going to be utilizing it for military expansion and growth. So that is a critical component here that I just want you guys to take into consideration. Other than that, Hippolyta kind of, navigates the same way as any other faction. You know, you are conquering territories. You're most likely going to side with the Trojans unless you decide to declare war on them. You're going to be helping them out, they're going to be helping you out, and you're going to become friends, but it's up to you how you want to play it. Now, looking at our second feat, the feat of Enlightenment, we will actually be able to utilize Amazon treasures to upgrade our hero. So we only have hero right now, and that is Hippolyta herself. And if I utilize that specific feat, which is the Sage Mentoring, gives the hero an increased rank for 67 Amazon treasures. So let's upgrade that right now. And you can see she just went up to rank 9. I upgraded her twice. And so now, let's just click 2 random ones or whatever. And there you go. You have 2 extra ranks. You spent some Amazon treasures, but it's an expedited way, apart from actually going to war with different factions and accumulating battle experience, to get an instant upgrade for your troops, and slowly that snowball is going to keep building until it's unstoppable. So the more Amazon treasures you accumulate, the better. I can't emphasize that enough, so just keep that in mind. Now, apart from this new mechanic of having a 6th resource that we're now introducing into Hippolyta's Amazons faction themselves, this only pertains to them. Hippolyta's Amazons, the campaign and the faction, they operate just as the Trojans and the Greeks do, or the Danaans. So you don't really have to think too far outside the box, like, oh, what else do I have to now learn about this game? It's really just how they operate that you're learning, not the actual mechanics of the game themselves, or anything in that aspect. We'll go into the other side of the Amazon coin in just a second here, but I just want to explain to you guys, again, you just have to learn these 2 things, the Amazon's Kingdom and the initiation rites. Once you understand what they do, and even the trajectory of how you want to build your campaign and how you want to build up your armies and your settlements and everything like that, everything kind of comes full circle. And it really does come full circle in understanding how all these mechanics develop and progress your way through each of your campaigns that you're doing. So it really isn't that much different. In case you want to know where Hippolyta is, she is south of Troy if you haven't run into her yet. Again, if you've played a Sarpedon campaign, a Hector or Paris campaign, or even made your way across the Aegean as a Greek, or as a Greek, you kind of just stayed put and waited for her to come to you. I'm sure you guys have encountered her at this point in time, but it is pretty cool that they're adding now a 3rd element to this game. So it's not just Troy and Greece. It's you know, you're adding in a factor here, and the unit types that you know, that the Amazons bring to the table are very unique and they are very strong. So in particular, they bring, for me, from what I've noticed thus far, their focus is not on the foot troops and the melee combat. They are more of a quick hitter, not a skirmish, you know, hide in the shadows kind of deal like Odysseus is, but more of a like quick hit, you know, engage quickly, not hold the line necessarily. Their focuses, for me, thus far have been on cavalry and range. So they have very, very good archers, and they have a lot of cavalry and a lot of cavalry options. You can even see here, you know, even as a tier 2 or middle tier units here, we have access to 2 cavalry units. We have the war riders and the horsewomen, and then as we make our way up even to the top tier, now we have an additional, what, 4? Yeah, you have Amazon champions, you have Antianari, I'm not even gonna try. It's just getting more and more complicated as I'm going down the line here. So, but either way, you have access to 4 more, 5 more. As you're growing in these tiers now, you have more access to cavalry. And I think that's the specific point that Creative Assembly wanted to add in this game, is this is more of a rogue type of faction. They don't necessarily have an allegiance, even though they weigh more heavily on the side of the Trojans and helping the Trojans with their, you know, campaign against the Danaans and the Greeks. So just keep that in mind, that this is a unique faction, brings all kinds of unique units and whatnot, and unique heroes, unique mechanics to the table. Just don't, whatever you do, don't get overwhelmed. You know, it doesn't take that long to understand exactly how these guys operate, as long as you understand what their mechanics do and how each of these things interact with each other and how they're interchangeable. So again, I would probably start with reading up here the Amazon Kingdom and initiation rites, and then kind of see my way based off that to expand into understanding exactly how those rights are enabled and enacted and everything, apart from my explanation. I hope that you guys see those for yourselves. But in any case, that's essentially the overview here for Hippolyta and her campaign. Again, I just wanted to run through the mechanics, the overview, and so that you guys can understand what new additions came with this DLC, so that you guys can go right onto the battlefield. I did all the legwork in reading all this stuff for you guys, and I'm just explaining it. So hopefully my explanation was clear, and you guys are able to just kind of pick up and run out onto the battlefield into your campaigns and enjoy this brand new faction and the mechanics that come along with it. But this video is not done. We still have another side of the coin to cover with Penthesilea's Amazons, which introduced the first Horde faction into Troy, along with the brand new War Spoils mechanic that comes along with it. Let's take a look. Alrighty guys, let's get started here. We have a lot to cover on Penthesilea's side of the coin. First and foremost, Horde Mechanic. What does that mean? If you're not familiar with the Total War Warhammer series, and for instance, as I made an example earlier, Chaos as a faction, they operate in a very similar way here with Penthesilea's Amazons. Essentially, you do not control any provinces. You are nomadic, essentially, and you just conquer and raid and plunder as you please. Essentially like barbarians. You have your allegiances, but everyone else is fair game, and you're just wiping out settlements. There's not really any ifs, ands, or buts about it. You can't occupy, loot and occupy, or sack it. It's raise and kill, raise and enslave, essentially. Those are your 2 options here, and there are certain benefits that come along with each of them. So I started this campaign. I'm under 10 turns in this campaign, and I wanted to first let you guys know how that Horde mechanic operates and what that means. So as you can see, I've raised a couple of settlements. I cannot actually occupy them and claim them for myself. I just destroy them. That's it. And I take all the resources that are along with it, and then build up my army accordingly. But before we actually dive into the armies, the mechanics, and all that good stuff, we're going to go up to the tabs up here, and similar to Hippolyta's campaign, we have the Initiation Rights tab, and you can see the military tree, which units you have, how to upgrade them, how to get those buildings, which buildings you need, and exactly what tier and stats they are, okay? So keep that stuff in mind. Again, you're a one-hit wonder. Every settlement that you go to, you're destroying, and you accumulate those resources, and you need to make sure that those resources last until you get to your next target, essentially. in order to accumulate more and more and more. It just can, it just keeps going and going and going. It's a snowball effect, and it just repeats itself. So that is their mechanic. They do not control actual settlements. Remember that. So first and foremost here, what's different between Hippolyta and Penthesilea? She has the war spoils mechanic. What is the war spoils mechanic? I clicked on this thing and I was like, what in the name is that? And essentially, you have all these little icons that show you, for instance, if I'm running low on food or wood or bronze, gold, if I want to get favor from a particular god, if I want to recruit specific units, this will tell me which is the closest settlement in order to gain specific attributes. For example, I want, stone. So I go over to this one, which has the little stone icon in the middle. Raising this settlement will grant us 376 stone. So I'll click on it, and it'll show which one I need to go to in order to get that stone, which place I need to absolutely destroy, whether I'm friends with them or not. If I want 376 stone, which is a great amount of stone, it doubles our supply, I need to destroy whoever's here, whether I'm at war with them or not. So keep that in mind. You don't owe anyone anything. You can run around the entire map and be enemies with everyone. But obviously you want to kind of mix and mingle your allies and whatnot so that it makes it a little bit more opportune and advantageous for you to take advantage of maybe settlements that are exposed or might have an army elsewhere, so on and so forth. So just keep that stuff in mind. But again, that war spoils mechanic, again, everyone likes to focus on gold. We do not have the 6th resource of Amazon treasures with Penthesilea's Amazons, okay? That is only unique to Hippolyta, okay? Keep that in mind. There is no 6th resource for Penthesilea. Now, again, if I could click on anything, okay, I want vision. Raising this settlement will give us vision over the area, okay? I have to destroy this and I'll get vision over the area, all right? It's right next door, great. If I want to, I want to increase my favor with was it Ares? I think it was Ares, right? We want to. Oh yes, we have to we start with a bonus in our favor towards Ares. So raising this settlement will earn us 600 favor with Ares. Where's that? Okay, so it's all the way over here. I have to make my way across the water, take this settlement, raise it to the ground, and I will get 600 favor from Ares, which will decrease at 10 per turn if we go into the this decay per turn in the Divine Will tab. So just keep that in mind. This mechanic essentially, as you can see in the description, outriders are sent ahead of armies to scout the area and report on any strategic advantage Penthesilea's horde can gain from attacking one settlement versus another. So strategic advantage, resource advantage, attribute or benefit kind of advantage, recruitment advantage, military advantage. Essentially you can pick and choose what you want to do next and where you want to get favor from, what you need to focus on, and it's on a turn-by-turn basis. So whether or not you have a long-term goal in the beginning or you kind of develop a long-term goal along the way, you can use the war spoils in order to tackle short-term goals. So if I want to, obviously, like I mentioned, get specific resources and build up my horde, I can do that. And I'll focus on the resources that require me to do just that. You can see, as we don't actually control any settlements, we are accumulating some food, some bronze, some gold. We're not accumulating any resources for buildings and whatnot between wood and stone. How do you build buildings? How do you get further up in those tiers of different units, the unit types, and increase to the next tier of units so that you have a stronger army to go to battle with? Well, hordes are unique in where you have these two tabs down here now. You have the Horde Army and the Horde Buildings. So this is the army. Looks very standard to your normal army tab. But if you click on the Horde Buildings, you will see that within the Horde, you are able to build your own buildings. So you have essentially 10 slots that you could do whatever you want with. And when I hover over a construction slot that I can do whatever with, I can pick and choose which direction I want to go, whether I want to put a temple to one of the gods that is specific to benefiting this army. I can do more administration type of work where I can do the same thing with recruiting spies and envoys and whatnot, or I can focus on military. You have three options. You're not accumulating those building resources but these will help you navigate your way across the map in order to make your armies and your hordes more efficient when they go to raise different settlements, accumulate those resources, and then pump them back into your specific horde themselves. But now that we've explained the war spoils tab up here, let's actually click into Hippolyta herself. Now, she has this blood oath tab that's right next to the war spoils tab. Now, what is the blood oath tab? Well, Penthesilea seeks to invoke the old war oaths. She can allow individual armies to summon blood-sworn heroes once your glory in battle is high enough. So the new mechanic for Penthesilea's faction is Battle Glory, okay? And with Battle Glory, you are able to utilize these Blood Oath units that come along and join your army for a limited number of turns. They add an extra bonus to your battles. Obviously, as a Horde faction, your focus is more on battles, not building up an economy, not making, the greatest of all diplomatic transactions and everything. You're there to pillage, burn, and F shit up. You know, I censored one, but not the other. I just realized that. But either way, my point is that this blood oath, pact, this mechanic that she has is essentially just to emphasize your level of destroying things, okay? So I unlocked the first one. You have to have food and gold for every tier and battle glory, okay? So for this one, I think I needed 500 total battle glory, and you accumulate battle glory in battle. By winning every battle, you actually have two options: to accumulate more battle glory or less battle glory, and either resources or attributes, bonuses that go along with it. You guys can read it once you get into a battle. When you win, you only have two options, okay? And battles on the actual battlefield that don't take place in a settlement are just a little bit different. You'll still be able to accumulate that battle glory, but whereas with a settlement in particular, obviously you're taking the resources from that building, so it's just a little bit different in how they operate, and you guys can experience those for yourselves. But again, similar to kind of the feats that we were seeing with Hippolyta's campaign, you're making a progression this way towards in your blood oaths to get stronger blood oath units to join you when you actually enable this specific mechanic to Penthesilea's Amazon. So as you can see, if I want to upgrade my oath, I need 1,800 battle glory. I currently have 530. I also need 4,000 food and 300 gold. So I have to work my way up in order to get to these next ranks here. But you can obviously see the difference in the units, in what they're actually bringing to the battlefield, how many of them are out there. And I enacted them with my current army so that you guys can see them. They don't actually show up. They don't take up spots in your army. They are additional units that come on top of the already existing units that you have within your regiment here. So, and where you can see them is over here. Blood Oath Honor. Upon activation, Blood Warband will join the army, can exceed army maximum. So again, you can have 20 out of 20, and they will add 2 more on top of that. So you have 22 out of 20, essentially. It lasts for 2 turns. So you'll have these warriors with you in battle for 2 turns. Whatever you decide to do during those 2 turns, if I want to hit the bottom city or settlement and then go to the top settlement, as long as it's within 2 turns, I will have them in battle with me. And then when the duration ends, your battle glory, so the actual amount that you have, will go back down to 50. Okay, so keep that in mind. So you're spending battle glory, obviously, to utilize these troops. But again, all you need to do is make sure that you actually are working towards improving these and hopefully getting them to their maximum capacity as soon as possible. So these early battles, I'm more into accumulating right now than actually spending to utilize them. So just keep that in mind. It's a very it's strange because it's like I want to use them. Obviously, I'm fighting right now, and if I can utilize them and be more advantageous in the early game, that would be great. But I'm actually playing them more of a long game, or with a longer game focus, where I just want to accumulate the battle glory first. Then I can utilize that transaction all I want. I don't really care how much battle glory I'll have because it'll always just reset to 50, obviously, if I get to the maximum level, right? So keep that in mind. That is how the Penthesilea mechanic of battle glory and Blood Oath actually works. Apart from that, though, again, Penthesilia's units, they're only a slight variation from Hippolyta's units. She's located more on the north end of the map, so whereas Hippolyta is down here, Penthesilia is all the way up here in the northeast corner of the map. So just keep that in mind. They're on two different sides, obviously. Probably, if I had to guess, working their way towards a middle ground here to, you know, kind of combine and conquer and move forward. But that's essentially the overview of Penthesilia. Again, the only Horde faction in the game. I don't owe any allegiance to anyone. I don't need to defend any territory. I'm building my army and I'm building my economy within the army itself. So just understand that with that kind of freedom in your campaigns also comes the restrictions of not accumulating a steady stream of resources. Your ability to get resources relies heavily on your ability to conquer, expand, plunder, utilize, and kind of exploit everyone by attacking them and utilizing what they have for your own benefit, to benefit you, and in your trades to other factions, again, to benefit you. So it's more of a understanding of how the Horde mechanic works. You are a settlement in and of itself. So right now I have technically one settlement, and it is Penthesilia. That's it. And she is a mobile unit. That's the deal. But that's essentially the overview here. We're going to go into the battles and units and everything like that in another video. I just wanted to explain the mechanics so that you guys can jump right in on release day and kind of jump into this head first and just enjoy the game, all right? I did the legwork for you, as I mentioned, so I explained how all these mechanics work. And last but not least, one thing that I did forget to mention on the Blood Oath here is there are different tiers of Blood Oath that you have. So at the time when I actually did the Blood Oath to gather these Blood Oath units, they're the Blood Sworn units, I have different tiers of what their attributes are on the battlefield. So if you go down here towards these little tabs, you could see where the different levels are and what attributes those Bloodsworn units bring to the battlefield. So if I were only tier 1, it would add 5% morale and 10% upkeep increase to all of my units. But once I get to level 2, you can see everything kind of gets better. And where my green gauges, I'm currently in level 2. If I were to get to level 3, obviously it's even better. Level 4, obviously the best, and that is maximum. You need to have at least 350 battle glory in order to have this. So you'll have 9 units with you at that point, 15% morale and 10% campaign range movement. Obviously, when you're not engaged. So obviously that's the best. You wanna be constantly battling. Essentially, you have to understand when you want to engage, when you don't want to engage, but ultimately, this is a war-focused unit, okay? All they want to do is battle, and the more that you battle, the better your troops will be, the more you can accumulate, the more that you can work your way up the ladder in plundering and getting those resources to build up your hordes, expand your horde. It's a cycle, okay? So just understand that. But all in all, I hope you guys understood this video. I hope you understood this explanation. Again, it's release day, so I just wanted to get this quick little campaign guide out there for you in case you want to go into it head first. I know we're taking up some time here, but I hope that kind of explains everything. If you do have any additional comments, questions, concerns, or suggestions, please feel free to post them in the comment section below. I'll be answering them, reading them, seeing anything that you guys, any feedback that you have, I'd be more than happy to answer. And again, I stream every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That is my current schedule right now. And we're playing Troy Total War for at least 2 of those streams, okay? So if you have any questions that you want to ask me live, you're also able to do that on twitch.tv/ChaosKaiser. And we have a whole bunch of stuff going on, especially with the community and giveaways and whatnot. So hope you guys decide to join us. In any case, thank you guys again for tuning in. Have a fantastic rest of your day. Remember to stay healthy and game on. Take care, guys.